Hey guys, welcome to this week's Monster Monday where we're talking about Hags. This is one of my favorite D&D monsters of all time. Let's jump into it right now. If you're looking for some kind of new, interesting monster or something for your next D&D encounter or plotline or whatever it is, these Monster Monday videos are for you. Maybe you'll find the next monster you want to put into your adventure right here. Today we're talking about Hags. Hags are deadly and devious and interesting and unique and really cool, but they're not kind of the traditional D&D monster, and they shouldn't be played as such. So let's kind of dive into what they are, who they are, what they do, and then talk about their use in your campaign and how you can use them to their fullest potential in your campaign, because they kind of fit a unique niche in D&D campaigns and really should not be dealt with like your regular D&D monster. So what are hags? Well, you're probably kind of aware of them. They're kind of like witches, immortal fey creatures that just hate everything good. So they don't like kindness or mercy or family or beauty or anything. They like death and decay and ugliness, and that's what they specialize in. That's what they crave and adore. They just love making people miserable and defacing things and destroying things and just making life bad for everybody. That's what they just relish in. They're known for their bargaining, the deals that they make with people. Kind of like Ursula from The Little Mermaid, kind of like Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty, right? People who put curses on people and make deals with weary mortals. And yeah, they're just super interesting. They crave isolation. They like to live alone in an isolated area. But they do also like to know the goings about of their home region. So the politics of the nearby village, or if there's any armies marching through the region or anything like that, any adventures passing through, they like to keep track of that, maybe with animal companions like pet ravens or crows or spiders or rats or something, or through minions that they've dominated or something like that, or maybe through augury magic. Hags refer to each other as sisters. They refer to older, more respectable hags as aunties, and then refer to the oldest, most powerful hags as grandmothers. So that's kind of like the ranking system. And if you want to, make your hag, you probably want to figure out, are they kind of a lower level sister hag? Are they more of a more powerful auntie, or are they the most powerful, terrifying, most powerful hags, grandmothers? So that, kind of scales. So high level party, maybe face a grandmother. Lower level party, maybe only deal with a classic, sister hag. Let's talk about the types. There are 5 types of hags. Anise hags, they live in mountains and hills, and they specialize in fear tactics. They love just making people scared and terrifying people. Bjor hags, I think that's how you pronounce it. They live in wintry regions like the snow-capped mountains and icy caverns. They specialize in ice magic. Green hags, they live in forests and swamps. They're kind of your classic, regular, old, creepy hag, and they specialize in illusion magic. Sea hags live underwater or in dark, dank, coastal regions, and they just hate beauty above all else. They'd more likely to deface something than actually destroy it. And then night hags, they kind of live in the other, lower planes, and they kind of interact with the mortal realm through dreams and stuff like that. So they're kind of a unique sort of hag and very interesting. Now, in rare cases, hags may team up to form a coven. They only form up in groups of 3. Hags firmly believe in the rule of 3, so when they cast a spell, they say the incantation 3 times. If they're teaming up, there has to be 3 of them, and things like that. They really care about the rule of 3, and they think that makes things more powerful. Maybe it does. But covens are a group of 3 hags. In rare cases, one of those may be a warlock or a sorcerer or someone who has kind of teamed up with them, but that's rare. Now, in a coven, hags get increased magical power and strength from the combined power of her sisters, but they just instead have to put up with, 2 other hags, which can be, used for comedic effect sometimes, or maybe terrifying, creepy effect. It's up to you as the game master. All right, let's talk about bargains real quick. Hags specialize in deals and bargains. That's their main trade. And mortals only come to them for help when they are in desperate need. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Everyone knows that, hags are deadly and dangerous, and you don't want to go to them for help if you can help it. But maybe some mortals just have nowhere else to turn to, or maybe they think they can outsmart the hag or whatever, and they go to the hag and ask for help. They make some sort of deal or bargain to, get a love potion from the hag, or maybe to save their dying child, or whatever it is. Now, hags basically always get the best out of bargains, whether through the careful wording of the deal, or whether through curses or manipulation, or however they want to do it. They typically always get the better end of the deal. But it may seem like for years and years that the mortal got the better end of the deal, before the hag finally comes back years later at a penultimate moment to reap their half of the deal or whatever, and just ruin that mortal's life. Hags are patient. They'll wait and just weave their schemes and make a million deals and stuff, and to pull it all eventually come crashing down on all the people they've made deals with, and just make everyone's life miserable, basically. Alright, let's talk about how you can put them into your campaign. Well, hags are fantastic primary antagonists in a creepy or horror-themed campaign, or maybe just like a plot arc of a campaign. They are not strong in combat. Their stat blocks, they're not very strong. Obviously, you can influence their stat blocks and edit them and make them stronger or weaker how you want to, to face off against the party's strength level. But they are not made for combat. And if there is a combat encounter breaking out against a hag, the hag has done something very wrong. They do everything in their power to avoid fights. They cower, they surrender. Typically, if it's in their lair, which they like to stay because that's the safest place for them, they have traps and escape routes and things where they can escape battle, because they're not that strong in combat. Their power, and what makes them so creepy and terrifying, comes from everything but combat, basically. You always want to give hags in the story the upper hand. You always want to put them in a position of power against the party. Like, yeah, the party can probably kill them, like, pretty easily, like, just if they attack them with, swords and shields and magic. But they won't do that if the hag has something they need. You want the PCs to feel like children compared to a hag, forced to use their wits and their own trickery to catch the hag and bring her to her own doom. Kind of like in Hansel and Gretel, right? It's kind of a classic situation where some kids run into a hag, and she captures them and kidnaps them, but they use their quick wits to eventually outsmart her and kill her, right, and escape. You kind of want the same situation. Yeah, your party maybe have crazy spells and legendary weapons or whatever, but you want those to not matter. You want to engineer a position where they have to come to the hag in a position of need. Maybe they need something from the hag. They need to make a deal or whatever it is. If you just set up the encounter like they just need to go and just kill the hag, you're not using hags to the fullest potential. They're not that good in combat. They're not that interesting in combat. It's going to be like, fine, whatever. It's probably going to be pretty easy. You want to play hags as people they're seeing time and time again, who are weaving plots and manipulating them, and they have to outsmart and outwit, and that they always feel, the party always wants to feel like they do not have the upper hand, that the hag is in the position of power. That's how you scare them. With hags, you always want to create fear, unease, and mistrust. I mean, not only should you vividly describe the details of their appearance and of their huts or their lairs, the jars of interesting things that they've collected, and the bits of children that they have dangling from the roof, or horrible, creepy things to create that atmosphere, but just in everything, right? So maybe the party comes to a village, and the village hires them to help them deal with the hag, it's living in the nearby woods or whatever, that's kind of been cursing the village and ruining their lives, right? But you want to sow as much distrust and unease in the party during this little adventure, right? Build up the hag through the townspeople talking about her in creepy, in terrified tones, or people who have encountered the hag recounting their horrifying experience. Maybe the old village weaver woman who gave the party the quest, maybe the party starts to think, wait, is she actually the hag in disguise? Maybe the hag in disguise is the beautiful maiden of the village. Maybe the mayor. You don't know. Maybe the hag is disguised as all of them. Maybe none of them. You don't want the party to be sure of anything. Create that unease, that terror, that tension, and always put them on the lower hand. They always should be in debt of the hag or something, and they have to use their smart wits to finally defeat the hag and not just brute force. It presents a very interesting, unique kind of challenge to the party. Most D&D monsters, you just meet them and you just hack and slash at them. But the battle against the hag should not be one of attrition, but one of wits and trickery and manipulation. And I think that's how you get the most out of hags. Use them to their fullest, and it will be a very memorable adventure or encounter if you do it right. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe, follow for more of these Monster Monday videos and these adventuring tips. Comment if you have any questions. Follow our podcast, D20 Academy, on Spotify, Apple, or wherever else you find podcasts. We also have a YouTube channel where we have fun, exclusive YouTube videos there. And if you are a GM interested in building your own campaign, maybe you want to try out GMing, well, if you go to d20academy.com, I have a resource for you there, a video that takes you through the entire process of building a campaign. So go ahead and check that out. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in next week's adventuring tip.